Geelong brought a relatively inexperienced squad to the holiday strip, although the Cats' travelling party included established names Selwood, Bartell, Stokes, Taylor and Mackie. Gold Coast coach Guy McKenna said the objective over the last 6 months was to make the Suns more competitive for longer periods. Within 3 minutes, Jesse Stringer kicked the opening goal for Geelong before converted defender Nathan Bock showed how he likes his role in the forward line.
Thinks about a 9. This will be for 9. It's outside the paint. That's a ripper.
Mitchell Brown and George Hawland-Smith put the Cats ahead before the earth moved when two Suns collided.
Oh, his own man, Campbell Brown. Gee, wanted Selwood so badly, he took his eyes off his own man.
Stephen May left his mark on Brown before Jimmy Bartell sent Geelong to the first break with a 4-point lead.
The Cats take the lead back.
Tom Hawkins was back in action after sitting out round 1. He provided the assist for Simon Hogan to boot the Cats first of the second quarter before dribbling through himself, thanks to some clever shepherding.
Rolls it low and well shepherded by Walker.
In his second season at the Cattery, Jordan Schroeder pressed his claims for a start in the Premiership proper, while Bartell's brilliance lost little shine over the summer.
He hacks it towards goal, and he kicks the impossible goal. He is one of the greats in the competition right now.
The Suns ended the Cats' 5-goal charge when Campbell Brown provided the last link in the chain to Luke Russell.
And that was against the flow.
Trent West made it 60-33 at half-time, after which teams were allowed up to 7 changes for the second half. Bartell made it 3 goals too, with his 16th possession.
Bounces it towards goal and it works. He's a genius.
Like he has so many times before, Gary Ablett provided inspiration.
He might have the shot with the left, bends it around perfectly. And they're still in this.
It seemed to rub off as Bock backed himself from distance to make it a 20-point game.
Gathered the crumb, spins, goals, brilliant.
Ablett seemed to be chasing a lost cause, but persistence has its rewards.
Ablett thought that was almost rolling out. He gathers, could have the shot, sidesteps a couple. He's a superstar.
Well, that's a great goal.
At 17, Jager O'Meara is limited to where he can showcase his talents.
Just had a sighter from here moments ago. He's too young to play in the home and away. We'll have to wait a year.
Geelong turned for the final term with a 15-point lead, and from here, the undermanned Cats stretched out with Stephen Motlop kicking 2 in 4 minutes.
And percentage could be a factor, and they're building on it right now.
Joel Selwood had just enough to swear by to get the maximum points.
Selwood.
That's 9, I reckon.
Is it just outside or just inside 50? It's for 9, all right.
The second-string Cats keeping their final hopes alive.
It's going to be a good percentage boost for the Cats as they try and track their way to a NAB Cup Grand Final.
Full-time, Geelong 116-13, 118, Gold Coast 18-12, 69. Charles Christian, Big Pond Sport.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's, you're playing a premiership side, and who's out and who's in, and all those sorts of things. But yeah, I think Bocky's had 8 shots on goal, and a couple of the kids did some bits and pieces. But yeah, I mean, I think the lesson for everyone and players and coaches and everyone concerned, I think it's our reality about that cohesion and chemistry, our ability. We're just going to have to play a lot of that time together, and again, Bocky looks great forward, but there's all of a sudden you're robbing Peter to play Paul, with him out of the back line and all those type of things. So yeah, it's just certainly a lot of boys. And look, I'm making excuses for the lads. I mean, they came out of torrential rain last week, and I reckon they played slow. They thought it was raining again, and whether that's a fault of our messages, the kids thinking it was last week still. I mean, it was a dry day. We certainly encouraged the boys to run and spread, but certainly Geelong did it a lot better, and I think both sides made and we made some terrible blues tonight. But against a good side like Geelong, regardless of who's in or out, they'll make you pay, and they certainly did tonight.
You talked about cohesion as a unit. I was wondering, it's quite easy to see individual improvement in some of the players, but probably harder to see collective unit as a team. the team's improving on the whole in the way they play together?
Our boys?
Yeah.
Oh, look, as I said, I reckon last year, I go back to North Melbourne and Sydney being probably two of our poorer games, and then tonight, as I said, we probably ran into ourselves more than we actually ran into the opposition. And maybe that's it. You know, Campbell Brown's playing half forward as opposed to half back, and I said you almost got to take a step back to take two forward. And I said I'm hoping out of tonight that was the positive I seen it. And again, as bad as we turned the ball over and as good as Geelong hurt us, you sit there and look and you go, you know, 15 points down. We had a reasonable third quarter. You're 15 points down at three-quarter time, playing the reigning premiers. And as I said, it's probably in my top five of games I've seen at Gold Coast where we haven't gelled and didn't look likely and missed targets and all those sorts of things. So I'll sleep easy tonight thinking of that, because that's a positive I'll take out of the game if that's a positive.
Speaking of blokes running into each other, did you have to have a word to Campbell after he nearly cleaned up Dion Prestia when he was trying to take out Joel Selwood? Oh
yeah, that, and I think Jago O'Meara tried to protect him too, and he popped him as well. So. But yeah, I mean, look, you can sort of coach that, but again, it's the predictability. And look, we spoke to the group about that, after the game about, just lacking that. And again, it's with, Bocky forward and Brownie forward. Well, there's two new blokes. It's a third of your forward line. So that means there's a third down the back line. They have to get used to one another. So as I said, there's still growing pains. I mean, we're still developing a side, a cohesion and things like that. So as I said, individually you can see some blokes who really have stepped up and stepped forward, but collectively we just need to gel that together. And that's, as I said, that's what we're shooting for. And as I said, we take a step back, but hopefully in a very short space of time we can take a couple of steps forward.
Louis, the last quarter, Louis, do you just scrap that, second round NAB Cup, don't worry about it, or is that a concern, or?
The last quarter?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, look, yeah, I think, the game sort of opens up a bit, and, I think Geelong made us pay with all the other mistakes we made up until that point, and probably they're just magnified in that last quarter. Talent-wise, all those type of things. I mean, there's still some match-hardened boys that have been in the Geelong system for 3 or 4 years, and again, they got that cohesion. You could say that was Geelong's second side out there to a degree, and you throw in Bartell and Selwood and Taylor and a few of the others. But again, they've had that time together. They mightn't have played AFL football a lot together, but they've been playing at the seconds together. They understand they're predictable to one another. And one thing you certainly know about those boys, they're predictable on the turnover. You turn the ball over and you give them an opportunity, they smell blood and they make you pay.
That's what I was going to ask. Really, it's a bit sobering, though, considering Geelong played a number of young guys too. Definitely were in the premiership team last year, but they've still got that depth. Is that just frightening for the rest of the competition? Yeah, but I think that happens. As I said, when you have a solid group and core group that sit there, you have players. Some players haven't seen the light of an AFL game, but they've been in their system for 3 or 4 years, so it allows them to settle, develop, get into a position, and then they basically got to wait for their opportunity. And it's fair to say, like Tom Hawkins now has taken over Cam Mooney's spot. He's no longer there, but Geelong are obviously looking for a replacement for Cameron Ling. So because of our list build, we've had to play kids. We don't have the opportunity to sit them in the seconds for 2 or 3 years and let them develop. I mean, which again, there's many ways to go, but that's the path we've chosen. We're happy with that. We're an understanding along the way. We're going to take some whacks, and like a night like tonight where we don't use the ball well and we get turnovers, that's going to happen against any side, regardless whether it's Geelong's best side, worst side, or youngest side. We play like that. We'll get, as I said, a spanking. That's for sure.
Last week and this week, where do you think you've improved on last year and what you've seen? What have you not seen?
I just think our ability to cover the ground and stay in the contest longer, that would be the two areas I think we can do. I mean, I look at, again, individually look at, Lukey Russell, his ability to cover the ground, help us out defensively, get forward. Again, the opportunities, I think the inside 50s were 49-60, so he didn't have a great deal of opportunity. But yeah, just the boys, and I mean, they mightn't look physically like they've grown up almost, but they've certainly got stronger in the gym, and it's just that belief about them able to hang on for longer. And as I said, look, we were probably doing a lot more bad running tonight because we had to chase, we were caught out because we'd moved the ball, there'd be a turnover, we had to run back, and as I said, to be 15 points down at three-quarter time, yeah, that'll make me sleep slightly better tonight.
So you think they're bigger sized bodies?
Yeah, able to compete. But again, I mean, you look at the Geelong boys that are out there, I couldn't find a skinny one amongst them. As I said, most of those boys have still been in the system, apart from obviously the draftees. I mean, most have been in the system for 2 to 3 years. I mean, they've been sitting and then 2 to 3 pre-seasons. You know, some of our boys have only just come off their first or second.
So you'd expect your players not to get so pushed off the ball as easy this year?
We'll still get pushed off the ball, but as I said, we'll be able to stay in the contest for longer. So instead of getting pushed off the ball, 8 times out of 10, I'm hoping that's 5 times out of 10. So you can compete for longer. We'll still get pushed out of the contest, but we can actually hang in there for a bit longer.
What was the rationale in taking Carmichael off at half-time and not bringing him back?
Look, we're just where he's at, and I thought he was running around and doing what he had to. He obviously got some big hits in the first half, and for him, I actually thought he was one of the few fellas where I think of clear of mind and actually did something positive on the night. So you could say rest him if you like, but there's nothing untoward. I thought he was actually going okay, and we had probably a plan to rest a few others, but I think all good plans survive contact, and our plan tonight didn't survive contact. Carmichael's did, but we had probably four other blokes lined up to come off, and we didn't end up doing that because we felt they needed to stay out there and get a bit more run and touch and things like that.
Is Carmichael in your best 22? All the marketing stuff's over now, isn't it? It's on his own merit. Is he in your best 22 on merit?
Well, I mean, he's given himself a good chance, that's for sure. But if I had to pick a side for next week, he'd certainly be close, that's for sure.
Are you resolved on where you're playing?
Yeah, probably leaning towards the midfield, yeah. So he needs to be in the sort of the best 10 midfielders to get a run. Yeah, certainly down back. I mean, if a match-up came around, but certainly most of our work with him this year has been out through the midfield, and I think the more he plays through there, the better he's going to get.
And you feel as like last year you persisted in playing in defence because that's where you felt he was best suited for his first season. Are you going to persist with that midfield, or will you give it half a dozen games and go, no, this isn't working, or you just keep persisting?
Yeah, no, I think he's actually stepped forward in that role. And again, it's hard to, sort of to get some beat on him as far as, last week in wet, sloppy conditions. Not great for anyone, let alone a fella trying to learn the caper. And then tonight when we probably did reasonably around the contested footy, but then we just coughed up our first or second possession. So, but as I said, I thought he ran through the lines and showed some composure and all that sort of stuff. He was probably in our best 5, I reckon, in our intra-club. 2 weeks ago, playing in the midfield, so, we've seen him do it against ourselves, of course. Now we just need to see it against the competition. I thought he was reasonably okay last week, and by no means he was disgraceful tonight, that's for sure.
Does he have a quick enough mind?
Oh, no, he's quick hands, quick feet, there's no issue there.
Has he got quick enough mind?
Yeah, I mean, when you say quick enough mind, seeing...
To pick out where the ball's going to go, make that quick option.
I think so. But the more he gets exposed to that, the better he's going to become too.
Has he played enough football for 2 weeks? Did you immediately rule him out for training next week?
Yeah, he was probably one. We spoke to him, probably playing a half. He was cooked, obviously, for most of the week. I think he only had a run on Thursday, to be honest. But he was obviously desperate to play, so the plan for him was to play a half. So he hung out there a bit longer than expected as well. So obviously the plan was just to get him through as much as today, so we didn't have to take him and fly. We will fly the next 2 weeks, so I was pretty conscious of that. So there's every chance he won't play next week.
He was pretty good for a bloke who was crook.
Yeah, well, last year he had pneumonia, and I didn't think he was actually going to take his place against Adelaide. I think he had 14 kicks and 4 goals, so we got a fairly high expectation on Gaz. So tonight, he was crook, but I mean, he as skipper, of course, put his hand up and did the best he could.
Bluey, that's probably the last chance people get to see, the public will get to see Jay O'Meara for a year or so.
Live, that's for sure.
Yeah, what did you think of his couple of foray into the big tournament?
Yeah, really encouraging, and like we did with some of the boys last year, to give them a taste and get that the opposition whacking into them, and so they understand the speed of the game, the brutality of the game, and he's got it. Certainly he'll have a taste next week against GWS, and he'll have a taste, I think, against Carlton in our last game down in Melbourne. So but he's every foot he's put forward. I mean, he's did some special things tonight, and he's we understand we got him for the next 12 months, so we'll look after him as best we can, play him where we have to, rest him when we can, and just prime him up for next season. But yeah, he certainly looks a player where he knows he's going, he knows his direction, he's going to make every post a winner.
Well, he looks ready to play AFL and he's 18 years old. Is that something that the AFL should look at, or it seems strange he's going to have to sit out for another 12 months?
It'd be fair to say I think the Gold Coast has bent enough rules in the start-up. I don't think we can ask the AFL to bend another one, but yeah, but you get some freaks of nature. I was at West Coast when Chris Judd burst on the scene and missed the first game and never played in East Perth colours again, and played the rest, and I don't think he's ever played a second game since. So you do get some freaks of nature that are physically and mentally ready to go, but we just sort of got to hold up a bit. He's just turned 18. He's had probably 2 reasonable performances. It's about that consistency. But as I said, he's done everything right. He's going to give himself every opportunity to be ready for 2013. We're that vehicle to do that for him. So as I said, he's already started. He's got a 12-month a warm up for round 1 2013.
More forward. You think that him forward this year would be certainly better than in defence?
Yeah, but we certainly don't want to take him out and expose our back line as well. He was so good. But we're hoping, if it makes sense, just to be able to defend by him catching it and scoring goals. I think he had 8 shots on goal tonight, and so it allows our defence to press up and do all those things the modern teams can do. But when it bounces in and bounces out like it probably did still 75% of the night, it's very hard for any defence to hold up under that. So yeah, we just got to weigh up, and that'll be a week by week. But the good thing about Bocky is he's taken on board, and we've used him back in some trial matches, and he's done really well, and he hasn't lost his touch down there, but he's certainly gone forward and really helped Tommy Lynch out, helped him out tonight, and he's going to help a few other young forwards down there too. So yeah, he's looked really good. He was recruited as a forward at Adelaide, so we know he can play there. Just a matter of balancing up the side.
Yeah, we were happy. Yeah, we obviously took in a young side again. Few of our more experienced players, but still young guys in the team. We thought that the basis of our team in 2014-15 was on the field tonight. So it's NAB 2, but there were definitely some good signs for the future.
Yeah. And saying that, how does that compare with Gold Coast? I mean, they're going to be good at that time as well. Is that an indication of Geelong? Maybe everyone talks about dynasties, but
oh no, it's hard for me to comment. Yeah, and I'm certainly not going to talk about the opposition, except to say that everyone accepts that with the talent they have in 2015, they're going to be extremely hard to beat. We had dual aims tonight. We wanted to hold back the start of the season for some of our really experienced players, and we wanted to get some quality game time into our young players and give them a chance to see what they could do. And the work in the contest, sometimes it wasn't pretty footy, it was pretty slippery, but the work in the contest was the part we were most happy about.
You really ran over them, Chris. What did you put that down to? Your side was as young as theirs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think when the stakes are pretty low, your motivation to run out the game tends to be a little bit less. I'm not sure what their motives were for the night. To read too much into the last quarter and a half of a second round NAB Cup game can be a little bit dangerous. But speaking for ourselves, we tend to have a shorter pre-season with our experienced players, but most of the guys that were out there tonight that didn't play deep into the finals last year have had a really good solid pre-season, so we're happy with the shape they're in.
Obviously must be pleased. I mean, you say you've got a young side, but you've got 12 individual goal kickers there. They know how to find the goals as well.
Yeah, we do have a couple of young players who, we really value balanced players, guys that can have flexibility in position, defend as well as they attack, but we certainly have some young players like Schroeder and Motlop that know where the goals are. So it's something that we'll continue to work on because we think flexibility is key.
And on the other side of the fence, with so many young players on the field, some of the Bartel, what he does shows up and just seems to blow everyone away, obviously.
Yeah, Selwood and Bartel don't know any other way to play, and I think they really took it upon themselves to lead our young group tonight. They're going to have to do that for a few years to come, and their example is it's unbelievable, really. I mean, in a way, we sort of sit back as a coaching group and think maybe we prefer them just to take it a little bit easier at this stage of the season, but AFL footy's not like that. They can't do it. That's why they're the players they are now, because when they were 20 and 21, they approached the contest like that.
Is there something in that with Joel addressing the team at the end of the ground? Is there something he's bringing in as a captain, or is this something that is standard?
Was that after the game?
Yeah, he addressed the team.
Okay. No, I didn't see it, but I hope he's starting to take control of the group. Certainly he feels responsibility for this group. And we know he's our captain now, and he'll take responsibility for the older players as well. But in reality, we have 15 to 16 senior players when we get them all back that would feel accountable for the team's result. And I think we probably only had 6 or 7 that could justifiably say that tonight. So Joel and Jimmy and Andrew Mackie and Harry Taylor took that responsibility on board, and we're really pleased with the outcome.
Taylor Hunt found a lot of it in the first half and then came off for the second. Was he just rested, subbed off, or no injury this week?
No, he played the last quarter.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah. No, I'm surprised he missed him because we thought he was pretty good, even late. Yeah, his first half was better. I agree with you there, but yeah, we think that he can really put some pressure on some of the players that are almost locks in our best 22, and you know, we're on record as saying that we're trying to find opportunity for young players, but if they're not playing well enough, we're not going to play them. So we're in the fortunate position at the moment where we think we've got 5 or 6 that on their form so far, and it's only a small amount of form, could justify a position in our best side.
You can easy to dismiss these games. It's like you thought that's a loss. It's like, okay, it's no motivation. But how important to get the winning habit into those young kids?
Yeah, I think it's all part of it. I mean, your competitive instinct is just that. You know, when you're out there competing against an opposition, you want to beat them. It wasn't our priority tonight, but in saying that, I mean, we do really value players that can win the ball in a contest. And if you apply yourself like that, fair chance the scoreboard's going to look after itself.
That's important for those young kids to get that winning feeling.
Yeah, to an extent. I don't think it's the most important thing, but it's important that they don't get used to losing and they don't accept losing, that's for sure.
We know the Suns can play their kids pretty much every round, but how are you going to get is that a challenge for you to get AFL games into the guys that played tonight?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for us because we do have, you know, some senior players that would expect to play week in, week out, but in a perfect world, we'll have young players performing so well at VFL level that we just can't avoid bringing them up a level. But we do need to be a little bit creative and find some ways to bring them in. We think we started that last year and we think we need to accelerate that this year.
Andrew Mackie seem to come up with a dislocation.
Yeah, Dwayne Russell said he's gone to hospital. It's strange because I just left him in our room, so he's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
You sort of have a bit of the Lions too, Chris. The guys never got the chance. They were good enough probably to come up. We saw Bolton down in Sydney, for instance.
Yeah.
Are you mindful of that, of giving these guys a chance when they're coming through and not to suppress them if they're good enough?
Oh, not for that reason. Not because we're worried that we'd lose them. It's more because we know that Scarlett, Enright, Corey, Chapman can't play forever. So we're determined to give ourselves every chance to compete this year, but not at the expense of the long term. And we don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. When they are, the decision will become a lot harder.
Good headache to have, though.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier to be a Geelong person. I think we're in really good shape, but the challenges that we have this year can't be underestimated. We accept that the challenges are there and they're real. We don't accept that it's impossible to overcome them.
Just before you go, Chris, I know you're not commentating your own team, but can you spare a thought for your old teammate Jonathan Brown? Have you got any thoughts there or comment on where he stands?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really sorry for him, but I know him well enough to know he'll be back quickly. If he says he's training on Monday, I reckon he'll be out there. He'll probably want to be doing full contact on Tuesday, knowing him. He'll be fine.